I don't know if this is because I live on the East Coast and we don't have these here, but what is Chick-Fil-A, and why should I give a crap?
Well, Chick-Fil-A, or filet, I suppose, as it's supposed to be pronounced. It's kind of like the new
Chick-Fil-A.
Domino's.
Now I get it. I didn't know. I see this keep coming up on Twitter, and I'm like, is this some type of is this like a singer that I'm gonna have to deal with, Mila? I wanna listen to some Chick-Fil-A, and I'm like, I have no idea.
The new judge taking over for J-Lo at what do you call it?
It's like, oh, she was there with Katy Perry and who else? Like at the music awards or whatever it is. But but all right. So tell me, what is Chick-Fil-A?
Well, look, I'm sitting right now on the highway on the way to visit some relatives, and we're sitting here. There's a playground at McDonald's where my kids are playing.
Nice.
McDonald's basically is like Tavern on the Green compared to Chick-Fil-A. Okay. Chick-Fil-A is like probably literally every part of a chicken you didn't ever want to eat stuffed into a sandwich. I mean, it's just it's disgusting. And I thought that before I knew their politics, so now I feel better knowing their politics. But it's owned by sort of the types of people that own Coors in the past before it was sold to Molson, and Wendy's before sold to Arby's, and some of these other very right-wing companies, the Koch brothers essentially. But they're religious conservatives, and so they donate money to a whole number of anti-gay causes, and they've been called on it, and they came out and recently admitted that people were arrogant to overturn. I'm paraphrasing here. To overturn God's law, when it comes to marriage, because God did have a law.
I got a quote.
When it came to marriage, which is why the Lovings were able to get married with no problem.
I got a quote here from the Chick-Fil-A president, Dan Cathy. He says, "I think we are inviting God's judgment on our nation when we shake our fist at him, and say we know better than you as to what constitutes a marriage."
Right.
Well, it's so funny because this is the argument I am constantly making as to when my wife Nikki disputes the fact that she is my chattel. I'm like, you're shaking your fist at God. He made it very clear that your type came from my rib, and that I own you once you become my property / wife.
She's lucky you had a spare rib.
Right, and nice.
I didn't even mean that one. No, that's terrible. I didn't mean that, but yeah.
And on top of that, I'm pretty sure that God's plan involved multiple wives. Now, I'm not sure I want to sign up for that, but... and he goes on to say, "And I pray God's mercy on our generation that has such a prideful, arrogant attitude to think that we have the audacity," that's that dog whistle, exactly, "to define what marriage is about, because we know how untraditional President Obama's marriage is."
Right. Well, I would just like to know what's this guy's name, the son of the founder?
This is Dan Cathy.
Dan Cathy, I'd just like to get in touch with him and see when we can schedule his stoning for the fact that his restaurant's open on the Sabbath.
Oh.
I'd also like to inspect his clothing and see if there's two different types of thread used, because if there are, then we can stone him for that. I'd like to know if he'd like Newt Gingrich and other current conservative Christians who have committed adultery to be stoned, and not stoned in the good way, by the way.
I understand.
I'd like to know all that, because obviously he sticks to the letter of the Bible, the letter of the law, so to speak. So I want to know all the other things. I noticed that he said the restaurant's closed on Sunday in respect of God, but if they're still following the Old Testament, which they're supposed to be, it is one of the Testaments after all, then as far as I'm concerned, if he's open on the Sabbath, it's time to stone his ass. And I'd like to know when he'd like us to do that. I mean, because obviously he follows this thing closely. I'd also like to know about selling... that's true. I've got sons. I don't know if I can sell them this slavery, but you have a daughter, Sam, so you should find out what a good price is for your daughter.
Oh, no, I've already priced that out. Because you can sell her
into slavery.
I've already done that. I've already priced that out. No, I think there's a section of eBay where you can go in and just sort of dip in and see what you could get.
I mean, it's just always, it's right, exactly. It's always the same with these guys. They're good Christians, quote unquote. They follow the Bible, but they just happen to only care about the gay and abortion stuff.
Right. I mean, I'm
all
not
the other stuff is
sure how explicit the gay stuff is in the Bible, but it doesn't. At the end of the day, it doesn't matter because he apparently knows what God wants, because he has sat down with him, as in God.
Right, he knows God's will, which we do appreciate his help on that. And luckily, Jesus never said anything about helping poor people, so that's good too.
Yeah, no, that's right, and nor sort of taking all sorts of parts of that chicken. I highly doubt Chick-Fil-A, and I have to admit, like I said, up until like I think yesterday when you said we should talk about this, I thought it was I thought it was like the next bad music that I was going to have to listen to from my daughter, but I highly doubt their chicken is kosher.
I'm going to doubt that too. I'm going to go ahead and say rabbis have probably not blessed it, and they'll probably recoil at the sight of it. And maybe, now that I'm a good East Coast boy turned Midwesterner, I'll have to invite you on a road trip with us. We can stop off at a Chick-Fil-A. Who knew? I mean, the local McDonald's here in Danville, Illinois, there's a picture of Gene Hackman and Dick Van Dyke. Apparently they're both from here.
Nice.
And proud. So, there must be a Chick-fil-A around the corner, and we could always go check it out. And before you puke,
now how did this become like it is? Is Chick-fil-A is it huge in the Midwest? I mean, is it all over the place?
It's big enough. I wouldn't call it huge, but it's big enough. It's around. Let's put it that way. Okay. And I don't know exactly which parts of the country. And I mean, I know it's out here. Obviously, I think it's around a lot of the country. You're just lucky to be spared of its graces on the East Coast. And but I have to look up to see exactly where. But it's a big enough company that when the head guys are giving money to all these different propositions to ban marriage and ban gay adoption, I think other things too, and then they don't even try to sort of sugarcoat it, but come out and call the rest of us arrogant because they know better than us. Then it becomes kind of a thing. So that's how it got out there.